Zainab sat outside their small mud house, her chin resting on her knees. She watched her mother cooking with firewood, sweat rolling down her tired face. Life in the village was hard, and Zainab had always dreamed of something better. Then, like magic, Auntie Bimbo arrived. She came in a big black car, the kind Zainab had never seen from afar. She stepped out wearing fine clothes, her skin glowing, her perfume filling the air. Everyone gathered around whispering, Auntie Bimbo was rich, and she lived in the city. She hugged Zainab's mother tightly. Sister, I came to help you. Zainab's heart pounded. Help? What kind of help? You know I have a big house in the city. Auntie Bimbo continued. Zainab is a smart girl. Let me take her with me. She will go to school, have a better life. Zainab's mother gasped, her eyes full of hope. You mean she will go to school? Yes, she will be like my own daughter. I will take care of her. Zainab could hardly believe it. The city, school, a life outside the village. Her mother held her hands. My child, do you want to go? Zainab nodded eagerly. Yes, Mama. Her mother sighed. Okay, but promise me one thing, Bimbo. Treat her well. Auntie Bimbo laughed. Of course, she is family. That night, Zainab packed the only things she had, 2 dresses, slippers, and old notebook. She barely slept, dreaming of the city life waiting for her. She had no idea she was walking into a trap. The journey to the city was long, but Zainab did not mind. She pressed her face against the car window, watching as the dusty village roads disappeared behind them. Everything felt new and exciting. The big buildings, the moving lights, the loud noises of cars honking. This was the life she had dreamed of. When they arrived at Auntie Bimbo's house, Zainab's eyes widened. It was a big house, even bigger than the school building in her village. It had tall gates, shiny floors, and sitting room filled with soft chairs and a big TV. This is your new home, Auntie Bimbo said with a smile. Zainab was too excited to notice the way Auntie Bimbo's smile did not reach her eyes. Then everything changed. Come, let me show you where you will sleep, Auntie Bimbo said. Zainab followed her, expecting a nice room with a soft bed. But Auntie Bimbo led her to the kitchen. In the corner, there was a small mat on the cold floor. You will sleep here, Auntie Bimbo said. Zainab blinked. But I thought. Auntie Bimbo's face turned hard. You thought what? That you came here to play? Listen, young girl, in this house you must work. Zainab's heart sank. But you said I will go to school. Auntie Bimbo laughed, but it was not a kind laugh. School? Who will do all the house chores if you are in school? Do you think life is that easy? Zainab wanted to argue, but something in Auntie Bimbo's eyes warned her to keep quiet. That night, she lay on a cold kitchen floor, staring at the ceiling. The excitement of the city had disappeared. A deep sadness sat in her chest. Had she made the mistake by coming here? But she had no choice now. She had to stay, and so the suffering began. Zainab woke up before the sun. The floor was cold and hard, making her whole body ache. She rubbed her eyes and tried to sit up, but her back was stiff. Zainab, Auntie Bimbo's sharp voice echoed through the house. Are you still sleeping? Do you think this is your mother's house? Zainab jumped to her feet and rushed to the living room. Auntie Bimbo was sitting on the couch, her legs crossed, sipping tea. Go and wash the plates from last night. Sweep the whole house and mop the floor, she ordered. Zainab nodded, her stomach growling with hunger. She had not eaten since they arrived yesterday. She went to the kitchen and was so surprised. The sink was full of dirty plates. some with dried food stuck to them. The floor was messy, and she could already feel tears foaming in her eyes, but she had no choice. For hours, she worked non-stop. She washed, swept, mopped, and even cleaned the toilet. By the time she finished, her hands were sore, and her feet felt weak. Just as she was about to sit down, Auntie Bimbo called again. "Zainab!" She rushed to the living room. Auntie Bimbo frowned her face. "Did you clean the guest house?" Zainab swallowed. I did not know I was supposed to." A hot slap landed on her cheek. She staggered back, shocked. "Do I need to tell you everything? Use your brain," Auntie Bimbo shouted. Zainab held her cheek, her heart racing. She had never been beaten like this before. "From today," Auntie Zainab continued, "you will wake up by 4 a.m. If I ever catch you sleeping when I wake up, you will see my true colors." Zainab bit her lip to stop herself from crying. That night, as she lay on the cold floor, she thought about her mother. Would she ever see her again? Would she ever go to school? Her dream of a better life was slowly turning into a nightmare, but this was just the beginning. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Zainab's life became a routine. Wake up by 4 a.m., clean the whole house, cook, wash clothes, serve food, and sleep late at night. There was no school, no play, no freedom. She wanted to complain to ask Auntie Bimbo when she would start school, but each time she tried, Auntie Bimbo's sharp eyes warned her to keep quiet. But soon, something even worse started happening. It began the way Uncle Kunle looked at her. At first, Zainab thought she was imagining it. He would stare at her when Auntie Bimbo was not looking, his eyes scanning her from head to toe. "Zainab, come and serve my food," he would say, even when Auntie Bimbo was right there. Zainab would rush to the kitchen, shaking and bringing his food. Each time, his fingers would rush against hers as he took the plate, and he would smile in a way that made her uncomfortable. One night, Auntie Bimbo was out visiting a friend. Zainab was in the kitchen washing plates when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. It was Uncle Kunle. "Zainab," he said, his voice softer than usual. "Come and sit with me in the living room." Zainab froze. Her heart pounded. I have work to do, sir." Uncle Kunle smiled. "Work can wait. Come." "Auntie Bimbo will be angry if I don't finish." Uncle Kunle's face changed. He stepped closer, too closer. "Are you afraid of her?" he asked in a low voice. "Don't be. I am the man of the house. Anything I say is final." Zainab gripped the plate in her hands, her whole body trembling. Just then, the front door opened. Auntie Bimbo had returned. Uncle Kunle quickly stepped out, pretending nothing had happened. Zainab let out a silent breath of relief. That night, she couldn't sleep. She knew deep in her heart that this was just the beginning. She had to find a way out before it was too late. But how? Zainab did her best to avoid Uncle Kunle, but it was impossible. Every time Auntie Bimbo was not around, he found a way to call her. One evening, as she was cleaning the dining table, she overheard a conversation that sent chills down her spine. Auntie Bimbo and Uncle Kunle were in their bedroom, talking in low voice. The door was slightly open. Zainab had no intention of eavesdropping, but what she heard made her legs weak. "You're making it too obvious," Auntie Bimbo said, her voice sharp. "What did you mean?" Uncle Kunle asked. "You think I don't see the way you look at that girl?" "People will start talking," Auntie Bimbo snapped. "So? She's young and fresh. She should be grateful I'm even interested in her." Zainab covered her mouth to stop herself from shouting. Auntie Bimbo's next words shocked her to the core. "Do whatever you want, but don't let anyone find out. If she tries to complain, I will send her back to the village with nothing." Zainab's whole body turned cold. Her aunt knew. She knew what her husband was trying to do, and she didn't care. At that moment, Zainab realized she was truly alone. There was no one to protect her. That night, she sat in the kitchen, staring at the tiny window above the sink. She had to escape, but where would she go? How would she survive in the city with no money, no family, and no one to help her? She had no answers. But one thing was clear. If she stayed, something terrible would happen.